Hello, everybody. This is the What is on the Tabletop podcast, and my guest today is Jack the Giant Builder himself. Welcome, Flynnhammer.
Hello.
So, as I already mentioned, it is nearly impossible, I think, to talk to you without talking about giants. Because right now, you might be a god of giant himself, like just sitting there making. No, well, not literally making giants from the earth, but you are getting pretty DEY over the time, I recognized.
I have become Bayamat himself.
Yeah, quite. I guess quite so. If you look at the dictionary under Behemoth, you might get some nice artwork right there. But we all know what you really look like.
Short little man.
Yeah, not a giant gut at all. Might have been a bit disappointing there for someone, but just well to get into the in medias res, give us the numbers. How many giants are there right now?
Last count I did was back in, I think November, October time actually. Was 96 giants. Uh, I've done. Oh, uh, one, two, three, four. Uh, just figuring it out. If I've either just broke 100 or I'm one away. It
So
was
there
86. 86. So it
is
was
there a
86.
celebratory giant planned?
Uh, I could potentially. I have got some two Mega Gargants I'm uh pacing out, but I think the way it's going to get posted, uh, two, three, potentially it depends on how I get there. But I have got at least one planned for Hydra's apple picking 28 that I'm going to be working on this week.
That would have been the next question, as the uh, conscious watcher of the 28 community might have recognized their apple picking 28 is the hot new shit. All the kids are doing it very successfully, and some amazing entries. I mean, I just giving shout out here again to Luke Mockridge. Well, I did not shout out him, but I instantly sent him a voice message after I saw his entries of the servitor with the extending arms and the tubes to suck up the grabbed. He's just so good.
I just love it. It's like the whole you've got the sci-fi element to it as well as the fantasy element to it.
Yes, sci-fi, fantasy, grim darkness. It is interesting how people are approaching it, how they are, well, make miniatures that are just, well, picking apples, which is a interesting task in a sci-fi setting, not so much in a fantasy setting. But I thought today about how you might approach a apple picking giant. Do you want to talk about it, or do you want to keep it a secret?
So when we get this out and I get the post made, but I'll go for it. One idea I've got for him is the giant is going to be he's going apple picking, but doesn't understand how apple picking works. So he's not just picked the apples, he's also picked the tree.
Yeah, that would be my first idea. Go to, like, just ripping out the tree from the ground and then just shaking out the apples.
Yeah, I'm planning on getting using one of the Johans just to be a either confused assistant or shouting at the giant for he's done something stupid.
Well,
I haven't worked out which.
he could at least hold up a bucket trying to catch all the flying down apples.
Uh, I've got another one I want to try and do is the giant helping Johan up to reach an apple.
Well, that has to. Well, yes, that is a good idea, but it would also imply a really giant apple tree.
Yeah. And then another one is using a Sylvaneth Tree Lord uh, and giving it some like leaves to go on there because it's a it's a barren tree. The model, it's
Yes.
no leaves canopy, and having apples on there as well.
Well, it would be nice to just having him pick one and reaching down, or
Yeah,
what would be nice might be a squatting giant that lifts the Johan up.
yeah,
That would
but
be, I think that would be the way to go. That would be
yeah,
like kinda, well, a cutesy, wholesome approach to the whole thing.
yeah. Sort of figuring it out of heights and everything else because I've only just got the trees today, so this week is the proper work on it week.
So I talked to Omegon Edge about his Alpha Legion, and I asked him if there is an end to his project that is the Alpha Legion, because he said that basically every 30k release is a Alpha Legion release. Like every 40k release is an Orc release with the right attitude, but basically Alpha Legion can grab everything. And when it comes to you, you are very dedicated to your project. So I'm asking in quite a worried way, is there an end to your giant project?
Could potentially be an end. The problem I'm having is when I was on the podcast with you last time, I said I had 20 planned. I've made all those 20 I had planned at that time, but in the meantime of building those giants, more ideas came to my mind. So it's one of those I don't know. It also depends on what comes out because a lot of the stuff I've started to use now is the Blood Bowl tokens because they've got the hand holding things. Like they've got the Halfling tokens has a hand holding a fork with a sausage on it, which is perfect to have a left hand holding something that's not just a fist. So all those tokens are working their way into new projects, and whenever they do endless spells or new monsters or new war machines, something I could either get a giant riding or just using as the weapon itself, uh, just spawns more ideas. And if I have to buy a box for, if I buy the whole kit, what are the spare bits in there that I could use for something else? It's it's becoming a very big problem. There is an end in sight, but the end keeps on moving further away with every time I get close to it.
You are not chasing the dragon, but the perfect giant.
Yeah. I'm trying to find where the giants sleep.
uh,
And I was gonna say the worst bit about it is normally it's the cost of the giant model is quite a lot, so it holds you back a bit. But if you know about the whole part work magazines they do, the new one that's coming out for Age of Sigmar has a giant in there. That's just a disaster waiting to happen for my bank balance.
I won't financially recover from this.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is something that also came to my mind because I am stuck in this very position where something new comes out, and I just buy it because there might be an opportunity to make an awesome conversion from it, or having the bits. And I was not really aware that you would suffer the same problem, because I was very unaware that the Blood Bowl bits are fitting so quite well for giants.
It was
Uh,
just lucky happenstance.
lucky or unlucky? I mentioned your new accomplished DEY aspect. You ventured into casting your own bits, I recognized.
Yes.
So, what can you tell us about that adventure, and how very much Lego might be unaware of that it is the top supplier for miniature molds since, I don't know, 2005?
It was one thing I wanted to do because I had so many more ideas for giants, and I was realizing it was coming to being a bit of a, it's just costing a lot more, and some of these ideas are just completely wacky and off the rails. I wanted to get them done, but they're not going to be full on uh proper ones, and if I wanted to do them, I could easily do them again. And so I made a few molds just for like some weird and wacky ones and just to test a few things out. And so it was just get a giant model, cast it. I made two different molds. The second one isn't actually as good as the first for for the mold itself, as in getting doing the release. But it was more of like a learning experience if I tried to do the mold in a different way. So the where the seam is in a different place, so I could try and work out how it goes, where I need to make the changes and stuff. And just as everyone knows, Lego is one of the best ways to make the brick, the the, the casing, because it gives you that defined straight edge, and also you don't really get much seepage through it.
Yeah, I threw some of your giants up right now, and what I'm recognizing is there is a distinct change in color of the material you use. Did you just raid a store and picked all the colors, or is there a plan behind the colorfulness?
So the idea is just for the resin color was just I knew which uh casts went together. So I just used the normal resin I got and then just put in a bit of paint into it and mixed it up. So I could just go, okay, this body goes all together on this one cast, and just so it wasn't like, so the like balance on the chemicals wouldn't be just off from one giant to the other, because I didn't want to have it where one giant's leg could be more part A than part B compared to its main body or anything else. So I just knew the structure of it would be the same for both. And also it made it easier to tell them apart as well.
Yeah, I can imagine that you might not want to figure it out on the go. Although your green stuff skills are good enough to fill it all out and make it look proper, as far as I can tell.
Oh, some of those ones were, the cast wasn't as great, but I managed to work with it. So if you look at the fat man, the one that's with the two sausages and the old giant head, his belly didn't there was a massive air bubble. So in comes the foil, in comes the green stuff, just to cover it over to make him look like he's got a huge belly.
That wait, that was not the brawler.
No, it's uh he's the blue legs he's got, not the punk one, the other one, just a little bit lower.
The I thought it was a fire breather giant. It is
Yeah,
actually a fiery such. Oh well, the I think the gut fits the character,
yeah.
so to say.
So I did a lot of re uh s- like doing his body over again and everything.
Yeah, and I guess it also saved you a bit of money, or
Oh yeah,
guess so.
oh yeah,
And well, talking about one of my favorite, I just say from the first set, my favorite was the Night Goblin one, who used the Fanatic as a slingshot, which was great.
yeah.
From the second generation, if I if nah, just say my new favorite or one of my favorites is of course the one, the only, the King. And I don't talk about the Giant King, I'm talking about Elvis. You
Yeah, I
did
know.
a great job on the hair. I love this one, and yet that you used the shovel as a pick, and yeah, yes, he he sung his way into my heart with imaginary songs of greatness and hunger and eating and smashing.
Yeah, that was it. It was just as like I could do more musicians. I
And
could
you
do a giant with a guitar.
and so you did.
uh,
Yeah,
it's as I said, the evolution of my ideas has just gone a bit crazy.
yes, well, a bit more or even more on the light-hearted side, and I want to yeah, I want to pound out. Why would I even? You are pounding out giants. I want to talk about. That's what I was. That was I'm going at. The more grim and horrific giants, and there are not many. And one is the slave giant, who suffers a truly horrible existence for having no hands and carrying around weights, and his job is to bring the doom cannon in position or pushing it around, having the chains hooked into his flesh, very, very dark and chaos like, as one might imagine. And the other one is the cow mauler, who is to a degree maybe funny, but very, very horrific when you just think about that he uses cows as a weapon.
The Calmora was brilliant because that came from the Sons of Behemoth army book. They said, "Oh, you can put the cow on instead by clipping it there," and I was like, "Okay, how far can I take this?"
And you
It's,
pushed it to the limit.
yeah,
he,
you've got cows for days.
yeah, he can literally take a swing as long as he likes.
Yeah, uh, yeah. Some of them were just the original idea was just one for each faction, and then it just grew and grew and grew to what it is now of just what can I take from this army and put it on a model? What can I do with this? What sounds a bit ridiculous?
With the giant red, I was a little bit unsure what was going on there, because I thought to myself, wait a second, that one is sticking out in a non-typical way for your work, because it is very distinct a red giant, while all your other stuff is well, in a certain style, a giant. Even the ones that got turned into trees or ships, that one, well, it is a giant red, or well, it is something I can totally see in a Skaven army.
So that one was I got a like a job lot on eBay that this was part of. for some other bits, and I was like, how can I? So I couldn't figure out what the model was for ages, and I didn't know what to put for it. So I thought, let's go for the uh, right head. So it's just like you could use it as like some sort of giant mutant or like a vermin lord or anything sort of, and it just I think it just fits to put into a as a chaos sort of giant that's mutated into a rat. But it's more of just like a whole, let's make this one a bit more fun.
Well, it, in my opinion, it looks very distinct to itself. It is a little bit the odd man out. If you would show me all your giants and you would say to me one of these giants is not like the others, it is this one, and of course the ship giant and the the tree giant. I don't know what it is. We had this talk when I sent you the Loot Studio Giants, and we had some mildly different impressions on it. You were saying it reminded you more of the second edition, not the second edition of the old Metal Giant because of the branch and the cloth.
Yeah,
And
it was the styling of it was just different, I think.
yeah, and this this one I don't, well, one could say that about the Morgul. He also sticks out a little bit, and of course, the the statue of the holy saint of the sisterhood.
That was more of, I could turn this into a giant.
Yeah,
Let's just see what I can do.
it becomes a bit like my obsession, where I'm like, can I turn this into a cult magus?
Yeah,
And how will I do it?
the answer
But
is always yes.
the it is Flynn. So how many giants do you have? Yes. And you already put a very light-hearted and fun one out today, and that is the one that went to the fun fair,
Yeah,
which is also a great sculpt and fits very well in all the giants you already made.
yeah. I think that's a big thing with the giants because the way the Games Workshop giants are, it's such a distinctive look to them. When you put anything else that's not an actual giant next to them, it's very clear that it stands out. So like you said with the Loot Studio one, it's very clear that it stands out from the Games Workshop stuff. It's just the styling of it and how the facial features are, or how the arms are, or the proportions. It just you can see a distinct difference. So when I see like the other ones people have though, they just when they have like the 3D printed ones or from other manufacturers, you can see a distinct difference between them. Like I think it's Mantic Games have their own giant, and it just you can see the difference between them. Like I would take the weapons and everything, but to make it uniform and look like a cohesive army, they just stand out. Unless you had to have one of each different giant, so you can show diversity between them all, it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, so we will not see any 3D printed creatures soon in your Great Stomp.
Oh, not for a while. I need to get a 3D printer first.
Oh, well, I mean, some of the 3D artists are selling. I don't know what their price range is, to be honest, but I know that some of them are not only selling the files to print, but also the models themselves. But I'm talking a bit out of my ass right now. I only bought from someone I know who has, well, a 3D printer himself.
Yeah, it's one of those of some people who make the 3D prints. They've got specific places where you can only get them. They don't make them. They don't print them themselves. They have an agreement with somewhere else that prints it, but they only print it in a country overseas, and import tax, timing, and everything is just too much to worry about for just like for a hobby. So I don't bother with it. When I get my own one, then oh dear, we're going to be going a bit mental on more giants.
But you also still have giant tyranids you're working on.
Oh yes, I can't forget
And
my first love.
and let me compliment you on the guns you made for your Harrodual because those came out real great in my opinion, and they are fitting in quite well with no, I what am I talking about? I'm talking about a Harrodual. No, I'm talking about a Harridan.
That's what I thought you were on about, but I was like, I haven't started working on the barbed hierogel yet.
Yes, I already see your future, young Flynnhammer. There is a Harrodual.
There already is a hierogel in.
Yes, there already is. You made one from a what is it called? Maw Crusher?
Yeah, More Crusher.
Maw Crusher, yeah. And you showed, as we are used to from your work, a lot of green stuff work and a lot of work overall to make this happen.
So the little trick on this one is uh, the green stuff on top is a thinner layer of green stuff. Most of it underneath is epoxy sculpt to give the shape and the bulk out for it. And I started this project in like April in 2021, and came back to it every so often. Putting when I had bits of spare green stuff, I put it on every so often, and then I was like, beginning of 2022, I was like, I need to get it done, and so just powered through and got it done. And I've got the second one. I've just built the body for it, but I'm working out. I'm going to put the front arms in a different position. I've got to make the guns for it, and it's just taking a bit of time just to work out how the positioning and everything is going to be, because having the big shield arms is brilliant, but it's how to position them so I can have the guns either underslung or to give a call back to the old epic Hyrule and Hierophants, where the guns went up and over the top of the head.
Oh,
So
yes.
so it was the complete opposite. Instead of being down at a right angle, it's the arm goes straight up and at a right angle for it. So it's just working out how to do it.
So, getting segueing into Epic and into a homework assignment that was given out and is of course never done. We are talking about the Creature Conference right now. If you don't know what we are talking about, check it out. It is the podcast by Modern Synthesist, or well, also a live show with him for Hydra, the father of apple picking, 28, and of course Marco absolutely Schulze, aka High Fleet Moloch. All great guys, and well, the regulars are getting some homework, and even the participants themselves getting homework, which is done or not. Most of the time, not. In that case, I actually did the homework to a degree. And last time, Nick took a little shot at you when it came to that.
Yeah.
And I want to help everybody out here who is listening. And well, I boil it down. for everybody who has not read the epic Hive War, was the title Hive War?
What's that for?
Yeah, the rules. It i- it is a lot of Tyranid history we already know. It adds the Prince of Yanden, the Corsair that returned, and to a certain degree, I think it is a bit oversold because don't think that the descriptions of for a epic rule book codex, whatever you might call it, there is a little there is it does not feel like made for epic monsters. They are a little too much in the background for my taste. It's like, oh yeah, here you have some extensions of the Tyranid lore, and maybe there are, and now you have the rules for the Biotitans, and I find it a little lackluster in that way. But, and here is where you actually should do your homework, kids. There is a short story in there, and it is a very good short story when it comes to the horror of the Tyranids. And it also does not include Biotitans at all. But it is a good story, and its implications are horrific, and the questions you might have from this story are also horrific. So, as a tip to you and everybody else who has not written High Fleet Horror yet, the TLDR version is read the short story and enjoy it.
On the list. It's just taking a bit of time to get to it.
Well, I think it's only 2 pages, so
Oh, the whole. I'm looking at the whole thing. I'd read the whole thing in one go, but it's just more because there's so much other things in there.
oh yes, of
Because
course it is. Well, the rules and so on, and I
the
I find it not very good as a don't find the composition good to sell you Biotitans, to be honest.
oh yeah, it's the bit I like about Epic was it was our first taste of certain bigger creatures like the Haruspex, Exocrine, and everything, which did make their return, and others that haven't made their return yet. But I'm looking forward to hopefully we get some more big guys coming soon. But as all Tyranid Xenos players are, we don't count any chickens yet. We
N-
haven't even got the eggs.
No, we got a set of pictures we could make something out of, and some very crafty uh, basement Columbos that might have a whole picture of the creature. And knowing you, I of course hope with you that it is Shrikes, and
We need them.
not only the parasite of Mortrex.
Oh,
But looking at the Elder line, I fear a little bit that, well, you can hope slash fear for it, that we might get a unit, a new unit nobody asked for, but everybody has to buy, like the jet bike snipers for the Elder.
yeah. It's it's gonna be the new thing is gonna be amazing on the battlefield because we want you all to buy it. And to be honest, people are gonna buy them anyway because they're new. And we haven't had anything new for a while.
Yeah,
And I
question.
just want something new.
Yeah, it came to me that we might get well, one of the obvious one is a Pyro War Bio War kit, That would be
Ooh.
swell because the Biowar is for the longest time the ugly stepchild of the Tyranid line.
Oh yeah, it. I prefer the one that came out with third edition, with because it didn't have like the really long barrel and it didn't have the armor sleeves. But I would take the front arms from the fourth edition version, but with the shorter barrel, I think. Whereas it's just the long barrel doesn't really work for me. It's one of those weird ones. You just if you combine the both of them together, you get the take the best bits, it would work. But it's such an older kit. It's in fine cast, so it's not the best to work with. And you see people like myself, I've done it. You make the conversions. You buy a box of warriors, you get three bodies in there, you can convert them into a unit of biovores for less than what it costs to buy three biovores. And I don't know why there's not been a change made to them yet.
Yeah, they are in a very forgotten spot. And I do not hope that they are in the same forgotten spot as warp spiders are, because I was a little bummed out that they are not yet in the new Eldar lineup.
There's going to be a wave two for Eldar. Like the- they've done a few, they've done weapon sculpts and other sculpts because with the new Autarch, you can take a Scorpion blade and you can put a Warp Spider jump pack on the Autarch instead of one of the other backpacks. So it seems to be that they've designed everything at the same time. So it looks like they'll come out at some point, but you just don't know. Especially like with if you've seen today the new Chaos Marines.
Oh yes, I did see them, and I have to say that it is very unusual, or well, not off-putting, but to see smiling faces that are not Nurgle, that is something I have to get used to be honest. I mean, I can understand it because the one champion is very much like this, haha, I gonna kill you now, villain, while the other one with the blade is more fitting as he has this scarred face and this very vicious smile, which is great. And I think something Slaanesh players that finally have a fitting head for Lucius the Eternal, or well, he was not really smiling, was he? He had a real deformed face. And coming to that, there are not a lot or nearly next to no smiling orcs. There are some smiling Gretchens, I know, but I think next to no smiling orcs, and we know that they are the race that have the most fun fighting. So, smiling in Warhammer is really a very new and unexplored concept, if not Nurgle.
Underwhelmed by the models because I was more thinking they would have done new cultists to go in the box instead of Space Marines themselves.
Oh, I was hoping for Blackstone Fortress Traitor Guard release with some little updates in there, but
Yeah,
well, I was pretty sure that those hopes were not coming true. So
yeah.
the I'm as I did not put my hopes high, I'm not that disappointed by by what is presented to us, and I do have really, really low hopes when it comes to Tyranids, to be honest. I think we will get a Gene Stealer set because that is the easiest one to do, because you can have different heads for different operatives. And maybe we get the new Gene Stealer buddies in there, because the bodies are already in the photographs of in the Kill Team rulebook mixed in, so you can tell them apart from each other. What I think we will really, really not see is a Lictor kill team. That is something I don't see because I think that Games Workshop does not have the will to do that or the design team will to do that.
It's just I really want to see it because it would be the perfect place to put them in. I just don't know why they haven't yet. Because what you can take warriors, gene stealers, or termagants, and it just makes no sense to not put a lictor in there, which is completely built around small conflicts. Like you could do the whole thing of you could have just you could have just three lictors just as a kill team, but I think to gauge people and get them interested, you need to have the whole more models in there for it. And when you say in the kill team core book, because I haven't actually gone through it at all, you mean like they had the ones from the Overkill
Yes.
box set? Yeah. I am so disappointed they haven't made those ones available, or even like the ones from the Space Hulk. They didn't make those available separately either.
Yeah, that is might be even the biggest disappointment because they are around for such a long time. But I think did they made the Blood Angels Terminators available through their hero line?
No, they were completely new ones. Do you mean the blind buy boxes like the Space Marine
Yes,
Heroes?
yes.
Yeah, they were completely new sculpts they did for them.
Huh.
Because the Blood Angel ones, you've got one that's ripping up the
The floor.
floor,
Yeah.
which wasn't in there.
One holding up a ripped off Gene Stealer head and all fun stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they weren't in there at all, which is a shame.
A missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I just wish they did them again. Because even just, I say, releasing those boxes, just give us the two spruce separately. Just let people buy them. Like, you get two extra gene sealers you can't use because obviously the max size squad is 20 currently. But it would just be so good to be able to have them again. Because they always do it. The brilliant old sculpts are only around for a little while and then they're gone. Like you can see it with Blackstone Fortress. Those boxes, this the expansions lasted about 3 months and then they were gone, never to be sold in a Games Workshop again.
Yeah, that is really off-putting, and of course, as I mentioned in the, I think it was one of our previous streams with Nick, the fact that the decision might be made on the first day sales or the pre-order sales, and this is a very movie publisher thing to do, which I think does not fit our hobby at all because I think the true potential or buying potential of a kit comes later when it went through all the hobbyists that made their conversions and kit bashes and just to say, oh, it did not sell well in the first week. Well, let's can it. it well, I'm not sitting in the deciding gremiums of Games Workshop, and I sure see the incentive to make as much money as possible with the least amount of risk to sink it anywhere and to keep your shelf space very economic and the production. But for the hobbyists, for the customers, it is really frustrating.
See it now with the new box sets they're coming out with, like Eldritch Omen, Shadow Throne, the Age of Sigmar ones, they're not going out of stock straight away. They're around for like another month or a bit afterwards. Like you can go onto the website and order them, and then, or you can go into a store and pick one up. They're just not selling out anymore. And I think that kind of started with Dominion for Age of Sigmar.
Oh
Like,
yes, that was I think I met no one that did not mention to me, "Oh, whoa, that one didn't sell well."
I don't think it didn't sell well. It's more of they, because of what happened with Curse City and they were scared of more backlash, they put it in of, if you pre-order it in this time, we will you will be guaranteed one. And it's got to the point of they're making more than what they're expecting to sell out. But also with like Shadow Throne, you've only got two new things in there. With the Age of Sigmar one, you've only got two new things in there. So everything else is already in their production line. They're just putting it in. One second. Nah, sorry about that. Sorry, we're just closing up on me. Uh, it was just, you're not getting all the stuff in. You're putting everything in that's already existing and putting two new models that will eventually come out later. And people are more of, I'll either wait to get it later, or someone will buy the box, go on eBay or other auction sites or anything else, and just break it down and sell the bits off. Because, oh, I only play one side. I'm gonna buy the box because it's cheaper to buy it overall and sell off the other half I don't have, or go halves with a friend. I get one half, they get the other, and all the boxes just won't sell out because it's not everyone gets one side or the other.
Yeah, I they at least tried to um, meet a little bit of the demand when there was a box of all the Blackstone Fortress, not heroes, but the monster miniatures.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, but that wasn't around for long. And the only thing that I think was cut out successfully are the cultists from the not overkill, but the more Slaneshi looking chaos cultists were cut out to buy separately. Or if I or am I wrong there?
they did the Villains of the Abyss was the box set where they had
Yes.
everything else. But there's so much in that box which they could have made. Like so many good ideas that it looked like they were testing them out, but didn't follow through on. They're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
maybe
just thinking about the traitor guard commissar and the traitor ogrein that they just disappeared. They're just I
they were
think they are the
they look
least
brilliant.
talked about models.
Yeah, they're the least talked about. But if you would try and find them now, they're the hardest ones to get because the Zote came out, everyone got the nostalgia feel for the Zote. The Amble, the same sort of thing. But the Traitor Guards, when everyone was like, oh, okay, it's a Traitor Commissar, we haven't got any rules to use them. It's always been rumored about that the Traitor Guard are coming, but there's no point getting this. And then all of a sudden, wait, you can't buy this box anymore? Oh no, I really want to get it now. And
My
people
exact
just,
feelings with the amble, I was like, okay, I get it. I get it later. Now it's gone.
oh, that's why, because now with Curse City coming back, and they actually confirmed, yes, there are going to be expansions to this. Regardless of how I feel about the expansion at the time, I'm buying it, the expansion, when it comes out. I
Yeah,
don't want to miss
yes.
out on potential how good the models are, or even how well the model could be used for conversion potential.
Well, are you talking more in a collector sense of way or uh,
Both,
both? Yeah,
both of collector and converter.
yes, because the the pricing on the expansions, at least for Blackstone Fortress, is ridiculous. I work in paper products, and the cards and little paper stuff they put in there, I know in production costs them cents, and they are adding a £10 price tag to it because there's something in there.
That's good. Uh, yeah, it's but you've got is that we always think of like, oh yeah, to make the models it's only cost this much, but it's all the other overheads. Like I don't want to just like be the
I'm
person
not
going
talking
like
about
to
the model.
justify.
I'm not talking about the model. I'm really talking about everything that made is from carton and paper,
Oh
because
yeah,
you only have one guy to design it, or one person to design it, and then it might be a template, and then it goes. Is this the
yeah,
production cost of this is really is the lowest, I say, of all of the thing.
yeah. It's
Even
the
the only thing that might be lower in cost might be the packaging.
Yeah, it's the lowest thing in the cost, but it's the bulk of what you're buying is those bits.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the person who's justifying like the high prices or anything, but if you go to a restaurant and you buy, say, for example, fish and chips, where you go to, you you're not just paying for the food itself. You're paying for the server, you're paying for the chef, you're paying for the energy and everything else to cover the costs of you sitting there, and then they've got to make a profit on top of that. So with the model is that you've got your if you go into a shop to purchase the expansion, you're paying for the staff member to be there. You're paying for the part of that costs on the model for you paying for it is the staff member, the rent on the building, the electricity in the building, the heating for the building. That's just on that bit there. It's not even going into everything else of the supply chain and everything else. While the cost of making it is small, it's the other costs they've got to bring up as well.
Yeah,
And
it is
so,
for me. It is really what really gets me cross is that I know the cost. If
yeah,
I had no idea about the process of putting in the extra paper, the extra tokens, the extra rules, I would be like, okay, a little bit pricey, I buy it.
yeah,
I if I if I s- I can tell you, if I was not working in that line of work, I would have an amble, I would have a traitor commissar, and I would have, of course, a ogrin, and I would have a zode. But just the fact of knowing that really is that was such a sting to me, and now that I know that it is gone, well, I think I would have at least gone for the amble, but because Traitor Commissar and Traitor Ogren, I probably, well, Traitor Commissar already, but Traitor Ogren I will get from RTLW. They are
it's
eating
brilliant.
Games Workshop's breakfast there. They're
Yeah,
putting out great quality and great design. It is close, but not too close. Maybe it is too close, but they are based in Russia. So what is Games Workshop gonna do?
yeah. I love that bit. It's like, oh, where are we based? Yeah, we're based either in China or Russia. Come at us, and just
Yeah,
they just won't because it's just too much. Just like legality and everything else is too much, and also are they really going to waste that amount on there? Where if you look at Artel, it is a small operation in comparison to Games Workshop, and they're not really uh they're making, in my opinion, what one character model. So it's not like I'm going to be going there and buying this instead of buying the Games Workshop model. Maybe for some of them, for like their space, I can't remember what they call their Eldar version, but those ones potentially you're going like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get these ones instead. But for most things of like, oh, I've got a cool looking, very similar to Commissar Cyphers Kane. model, which I could just use as a commissar, or I could use it in a space version of Dungeons and Dragons, or like a role-playing tabletop game. There's so many different things you could just go and use those models for. They can't really pinpoint it to being they're ripping us off because they don't just do 40k adjacent. They do so many other things.
Yes, that is
Whereas,
very
like,
true.
if I remember that Chapter House was very much a uh, we're using your name, we're using your descriptions, we're using everything that you guys have already done. We're just making the model for it, which was a clear IP infringement. Whereas, and I think they weren't based in Russia or China.
I think
If I
Chapter
correct
House
me if
was
I'm wrong.
American, if I
Yeah, so it's a
recall
lot more
correctly.
easier for them to go,
Yeah.
we're going after you. But yeah, it's just though when you say like the cost of how much it was to produce those boxes and stuff, and a lot of people went in just for the bits of cardboard instead because they gave extra rules, extra different ways to play the
Yes,
game.
of course. If they are a legit product, and well, it's just to put the an exorbitant amount of cost on it. This is, well, as I said, if I would not know it, I would just think to myself, a bit pricey. I won't use the cardboard. For someone who plays that, of course, it may most possibly worth the price tag. I won't argue that. I won't argue that. If you're playing Blackstone Fortress and you want the additional content, and it is good to have that because you're keeping a game alive when you're constantly putting new content out. And I mean, that is what happened with Hero Quest a long time ago when the Necromancer expansion came out and something else came out, and it is. It is a real cool addition to the game. Good.
Just
To cut down our rambling about prices,
yeah.
let's talk a little bit about a plan you had the last time we talked. And that was the plan to invest in contrast paint and an airbrush.
Yes, it happened.
Yes, it happened, and you even have evidence on your Instagram account that it
Yeah,
happened.
I did paint. I painted things. It happened. This is not a
Hooray!
drill.
The
It did
prophecy
only
came
last.
true.
It did only last about a month, but it happened. June Stealer, uh, another product from the Creature Conference streams, was one of the main motivators for me to get some paint on some models.
Yeah, quotation marks. How many did you paint?
I painted at least 2,000 points worth of Gene Stealers.
Yeah, some models you call that.
Yeah, but I was basically painting the same thing one after the other, where I had little variations on the model. But I got
It still
most of them.
counts. I am
Oh, there's still more work to
very
go on them.
proud of you when it comes to that. I mean, I sing the praise on your monsters and giants all day, but in that regard, I feel like I have to point it out that you have done that successfully and you stick to your plan. And that
Yep.
is half the battle, so to say.
Yeah. I also did get one of my Morlocks and Trigons painted up as well, which was more of like a whole. Well, I've started this. I want to change it up a little bit, paint something different, and I just grabbed those two out from the area of I need to paint.
Yeah, you're not someone who has, or are you? Well, let's ask you. Are you someone that has a lot of projects lined up and works simultaneously on them, or are you going one after another?
So with conversions, I have like 4 or 5 on the go at the same time. Like, but it'll be like with the giants, it would be okay. I've got the bodies, get the bodies into positions of like where I need them into, and then it will be work on one work on one, do these bits on it. Okay, that's in place, that's drying. Work on the next bit, like it could be a weapon or something else. But I try and stick to similar conversions at the same time. So I'm using the same tools at the same time rather than going, all right, this one I need to use a heat gun for and just heating this bit up. And then next one is, oh, this doesn't need the heat gun, I need something else. And just streamlining the process of less shortening about the wasting of time of changing to a different tool just so I don't lose out because whenever I get time to work on it, I need to make sure I'm working on there rather than uh, just sitting around spending time sorting something out just so I can do the work. Like unplugging the heat gun from the plug socket so I can put in a glue gun or uh, going and digging for a specific bit when if I had the bits already for that set of conversions to one side, it's already there. So some days it is just prep work, getting things there, and other days it is the assembly line of everything going at once. And I normally do big unit conversions at once rather than I'm going to convert one of these from this unit and convert something from something else and something from somewhere, like 5 different projects that are all completely different. I'll just go, this whole unit I want to do together all at once, done. Focus on those. It just depends on what mood I'm in. If I go one project at a time or 5 projects at the same.
Yeah, it should be a hobby and not a second job.
Yeah.
Flynn,
A tr-
as always, thank you for your time.
What
It
can I say except you're welcome?
Well said, well said. And yes, some good advice at the end. And I wish everybody happy hobbying and take care, stay safe, and until the next time.
Bye.